Hi, everybody. I'm here with Kyle, and we had this really amazing call last week with all of our inquiry method trainees. And if you don't know what the inquiry method training is, it's this really amazing program that Kyle put together to teach people how to coach or how to implement inquiry method in their lives. And it's an extremely powerful program. I've been through it myself and graduated, and now I'm facilitating, holding space for the other trainees going through at the moment. And we're doing these calls online because of the lockdown right now, but I've just been amazed and blown away with Kyle's ability to just keep it so engaging and so powerful, even virtually. And the last call that we did was around shame and guilt and projection. And so I'm going to hand it over to Kyle, and he's just going to take us through some of those ideas that we had from the call the other night. So take it away, Kyle.
Oh, thanks, Olivia. Great introduction. And let's do a little back and forth too, because I like the parts that you're interested in. So,
Great.
I know you mentioned shame and guilt, and that it's good to be able to distinguish between the two. A lot of us don't understand the distinction between the two. And guilt means that I made a mistake, and it's something I can apologize for. I say, "Oops, I spilled the milk. I made a mistake." I could go out and feeling guilty about it, or I could say, "Oh, I'm sorry for spilling the milk," or "I made a mistake," and then let it go. So either self-forgiveness or forgiveness of others. And my current operating definition of forgiveness is giving someone the permission to stop feeling bad. So if you make a mistake, forgiveness means, okay, you can stop feeling bad now. And if I do something and made a mistake, giving myself forgiveness meaning, okay, Kyle, you can stop feeling bad about that now. And it's just when you're ready to, you can say, okay, you have permission to stop feeling bad about it now. So it's good to understand the difference between guilt and shame, because shame is the feeling or the experience that there's something fundamentally wrong with me. And that's what we work with in the freedom experience, is we identify things that we have shame about, meaning that I judge they're unacceptable either to me, or I project that they're unacceptable to other people.
I have a question. So I might have gotten confused, but when you were saying your definition of forgiveness, are you meaning that you're giving yourself permission to let yourself off the hook, or the other person that you're apologizing to is giving you permission?
It's both.
Okay.
Forgiveness from someone else, like if I've wronged somebody else, it's nice to get forgiveness, meaning basically they say, okay, you can stop feeling bad about that. I mean, that's true love, right? When you're willing to give someone who's wronged you permission to stop feeling bad. And that's lightning. And then also I can do it for myself. Okay, Kyle, I give you permission to stop feeling bad about that thing.
Yeah, so guilt doesn't always have to be asking another person for forgiveness, right? Like if that person has passed, or sometimes it's just not even necessary to apologize, right? It's just ourselves that are holding us to that.
That's right. Most of our guilt is our own guilt, not anybody else's, right? So you're absolutely right. It's giving ourselves permission to stop feeling bad.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that distinction. And so how can we begin to unpack shame? If I believe that, I definitely have pieces of this that I'm working on right now where, there's parts of myself that I'm ashamed about and can't love myself for as of now, working on it, hoping to get there. How can we begin to unpack that and heal that?
Would you be open to throwing out an example?
Yeah. So for me, one of the things that I'm working with right now is realizing that I just don't really have my own back a lot of the time. I believe what other people say about me. Like I think I have moments of confidence, and then as soon as somebody says something contradictory, I believe them over myself.
I see. So the judgment would be on yourself that you lack confidence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So that would be the shame, lacking
Mm-hmm.
confidence, right? So it's interesting because every shame is also a power. And so, somebody that has absolute confidence has no receptivity or openness to anything else. We call it total arrogance, right? So, like in these, that there's a polarity. So as soon as I judge that I lack confidence, it means that I should show confidence. And there's a lot of insecure people running around showing confidence all the time when they actually lack confidence. And they get in a lot of trouble because they're assured of things. A lot of people like esoteric knowledge or like beliefs, even like conspiracy theories or all this kind of stuff. I know what's happening. It's da 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 da. And where's the evidence? I just know it. It just sounds right to me or whatever. That we're projecting out this confidence, or I know this, or I know about you. So that confidence is really arrogance and is the opposite of inquiry method, obviously, right? So somebody is absolutely confident can't grow, can't develop, can't self-reflect. So lack of confidence, I certainly have a lot of lack of confidence, which allows me to be open to other people's reflections, other people's suggestions, new learning, new possibilities, and all those things. So the whole premise of inquiry method is the capacity or the willingness not to know. Well, I'm not sure. Let me check. I'm unsure. And total lack of confidence, if we could also judge that confidence is bad, and some people suppress their confidence because they've been taught not to have confidence, that they don't know what they're talking about as children, and why speak up? And I certainly got that one a lot because I was often told that I was wrong and somebody else was right. And so I leaned into lack of confidence in some ways. And so right there in the middle is neither. Right there in the middle is openness. Hey, I've got an idea. How about this one? Or, hey, wow, that's an interesting idea. I'm open to that. So when we bring it into balance, the question of confidence or lack of confidence ends. For me, confidence comes from source. When I'm in balance, something speaks through me with a certain authority that just is like eureka, or yeah, that's it. But confidence can't come from mind or thought or belief or idea. It comes from direct experience. Like I can be totally confident that there's gravity. Are you confident that there's gravity?
Fairly confident.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's direct experience. See, you have confidence. You just lack confidence around all the things that you're not sure about. And, that's really whole and healthy. But when we polarize it, we feel like we should put more energy into projecting confidence, which gets us into trouble oftentimes, and suppresses our lack of confidence, which suppresses learning. So somebody that's overly confident, we know that they're suppressing lack of confidence. Somebody that's overly lacks confidence, right, out of balance with exactly their knowing, means they're suppressing confidence because that's bad. A lot of women have been taught that not to be confident or not to trust themselves. A lot of men have tried to be overconfident and assured, and it takes us all out of balance. So for every shame, there's a repression and a projection. One of the ways that we can find this is by the judgments that we have on others. Like a lot of people, when I say this, say, well, I judge people to be lazy. I'm not lazy. I say, yeah, you're right. You work your ass off. You work way too hard. You're driving yourself and you never get any rest. That's because you haven't accepted the part of you that needs to rest and sleep and relax and be at peace. And somebody that's very lazy for whatever reason, like really leans into total, sloth, means that they're avoiding asserting themselves because they don't really trust it, or that they judge it, or that they don't want to impose on other people. So again, if we can find that polarity, because we all have these polarities between what we project as our image and what we hide as our shame, and they can be the same thing. Even anger. Well, I should be more angry. Oh, I shouldn't be angry. That as we collapse them into just present oneself, is that they come into balance and we're able to access them when present without identifying them as who we are.
I also notice that it's easy for me to find the things that I repress because as soon as somebody judges me as that, I'm like, fly off the handle, right? I get so upset and I'm like, oh, well, if somebody called me lazy and I didn't have that judgment on myself, or I didn't think that was bad,
Yeah,
it wouldn't be a problem, right?
that's right. Exactly. So call me lazy.
Kyle, you're so lazy.
Oh, thank you for noticing. Sometimes I rest. It's the same with any of them.
Yeah.
It's all part of whole self. Yeah, I can see that aspect of myself. There's probably nothing that you could call me that I wouldn't. Kyle, you can be a real jerk sometimes. Oh yeah, I can, can't I? You can be irritating. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thanks for noticing.
I also loved what you said during the call about, if somebody compliments you and you get like this ego rush and you feel really built up, that can also be a clue to something you're suppressing.
Exactly. Yeah. And something that or even something that I've identified as my ego. So
Yeah.
a good example of that would be like, hey Kyle, you're so smart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if my ego or image that I project out is identified with being smart, I get puffed up about that. The problem with that is as soon as I'm identified with being smart, I have to support it all the time and I can't be dumb. And if I can't be dumb, I'm not really in inquiry or learning. I'll start to limit the things that I engage in because I don't want to look not smart or not capable. I might not want to try something new, or if I see myself as not smart, then maybe I don't want to cook in front of other people because I might look like a dummy. So as soon as I attach to either shame or projection of ego identity, I start to limit my life, and my life gets narrower and narrower and narrower to only the things that I want you to see about me, and only things I don't want you to see about me, or only the things I want to see about myself, and not the things I don't want to see about myself. So that's why our lives start to get smaller and smaller, is because we start to be hemmed in by the trap of image and identity.
Awesome. Well, I highly recommend everybody do the inquiry method training and the freedom experience, because in the freedom experience, we specifically work on this issue of, projection and what we project out into the world, our identity, and really making space for a new, more authentic version of ourselves to be expressed into the world. So, yeah.
Thanks, Olivia. Like always, it's so much fun to connect with you and
Yeah.
do these videos. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, you too. And one last thing, I was hoping that you could take us through the little worthiness exercise that you did at the very end of the call, where we talk about whose job it is to be worthy or to make us feel worthy.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good reminder. Because when I'm looking outside of myself for my worth, that's where I get into a lot of trouble around shame and projection of image and identity and all those things. There's only one place that we can look to feel our worthiness. And the only way that we can feel our worthiness is in places and in areas where we're not in this game of identity and shame, because we are all 100% worthy. And there's only one person that can recognize your own worthiness. And it does not matter if anybody else does. You can have somebody else say how worthy you are, and if you don't feel it already, it makes no difference. You could have everybody on the planet say you're worthy. I mean, there's all these actors and celebrities and all these kind of things that everybody affirms their worthiness, and actually makes them feel worse because it points out their lack of and so forth. So here's the test question at the end of the blog. Who's the only place, or where's the only place that you can experience worth?
In me.
In me. Yes. All
So
right. Everybody passes.
everybody say it with me. I'm responsible for my worthiness. I'm the only person who can make me feel worthy. And it's just really powerful to affirm that for ourselves and remind ourselves, because it's so easy to get caught up out here in the physical world and turn outward for that affirmation of our worth.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Olivia.
Thanks, Kyle. See y'all next week.
I know.